up? It's Connor. So I want to start off with a quick backstory of how I even ended up grabbing this MacBook Air, because I feel like some of you guys might be in the same boat that I was, as I've always been someone who's never really even looked or batted an eye at the MacBook Air. I've always been a little more prone to the MacBook Pro lineup, with my main background being in graphic design as well as photography and a lot more video work. The MacBook Pro just always seemed to make more sense. But of course, Apple flipped the script and gave us Apple Silicon, and everything changed as we now have a crazy amount of power and performance in the cheapest laptops or computers that Apple sells. That you can literally go to the Apple Store, spend $1,200 on a MacBook Air, and that is going to rival the $5,000 MacBook Pros from just a few years ago. With this year's WWDC, Apple has completed the transition over to Apple Silicon, and during that event, Apple also gave us a 15-inch MacBook Air, and for some odd reason, like as soon as Apple announced that 15-inch, I was immediately interested in the 13-inch. Nonetheless, I now have the base level or cheapest M2 Air, and I was actually a little bit nervous at first because I've already gotten used to more pro level devices with the Mac Studio and MacBook Pro. But this MacBook Air is impressive. Like seriously, it's impressive. The first thing that struck out to me about the M2 MacBook Air is its sleek and ultra portable design. Gone is the iconic MacBook Air wedge shape, and instead we now have the MacBook Pro's aesthetic thinned down to its most essential. And I really like it. It's so sturdy yet light, measuring just 11mm thick and weighing around 2 pounds. This laptop is incredibly light and easy to carry around, perfect for really anyone who is just trying to travel as light as they possibly can. And speaking of traveling, it's never been easier to lug your Mac around thanks to this video sponsor, TomTuck, and their Defender A42 laptop bag. Right off the bat, the build quality of this bag is seriously amazing, and you can feel that throughout its premium materials and attention to detail. The reinforced edges and 2 rubber corner armors at the bottom corners give your device an extra layer of protection against unexpected drops and bumps, and your device sits snug in this microfiber cloth material. It's also got a water resistant exterior just in case you happen to spill a drink or get caught in a little bit of rain. The Defender A42 also doesn't disappoint in the storage department, as it's rocking 2 large zipper compartments right up front, giving you plenty of space to stash all your accessories, whether it's chargers, cables, documents, or those nifty little gadgets. You'll find a spot for everything. I've also been loving the versatility that this bag offers, as you can either just carry it around from the handle at the top, or you can attach the shoulder strap, which comes included. So whether you're at the office, hitting the road, or just chilling at a local coffee shop, this bag is going to fit every scenario. If you guys are interested in the Defender A42 laptop bag from TomTuck, then head over to the first link in the description, and huge thanks to TomTuck for sponsoring this video. In addition to this redesigned chassis, we also have the addition of MagSafe, preventing accidental yanks and providing some extra convenience. And then as for ports, the M2 MacBook Air offers 2 USB-C Thunderbolt ports, which is technically an improvement over the previous models. But if you are in need of some extra ports, then you will still need to live that dongle life, which I'm sure we've all already gotten used to anyways, so I really don't see that as being a huge deal. And then for the keyboard and trackpad, they really are just as good as you would expect them to be. The Magic Keyboard offers a good typing experience, while the Magic Trackpad still remains king of trackpads. Basically, the Air just looks and feels like the younger brother to the MacBook Pro, which honestly kind of makes this the better laptop in Apple's lineup, as you get that high quality MacBook Pro build and look, but still retain an ultra thin and light form factor. We also got this 13.6-inch liquid retina display. It's sharp, vibrant, and boasts excellent color accuracy, and actually makes it pretty ideal for doing tasks like photo and video editing. And if I'm gonna be completely honest with you, it's really not that far off from the MacBook Pro display. Like, yes, don't get me wrong, the mini LED ProMotion display is better on the Pro, but I would argue that you would only really notice that if these two were side by side. Like, I've switched between the two quite a bit since picking up the Air, and besides that ProMotion, I honestly forgot I was even using the Air over the Pro or vice versa. One of the things that really separates the MacBook Air from basically almost every other laptop on the market, and can sometimes worry potential buyers, is its fanless design. But it really doesn't get as hot as you might think, and as thin as it is, I feel like the chassis allows for air to circulate pretty well. Like, I can have this on my lap without a problem. The keyboard doesn't get insanely hot, and I really do think thermals are well maintained and taken care of within this computer. I think it's safe to say that the M2 chip is the heart and soul of the MacBook Air, and then everything else is just sort of built around it. And speaking of the M2 chip, it brings a higher clock CPU, including a couple of more GPU cores, and offering 8K and ProRes acceleration thanks to the included media engine, which just essentially means that it can handle a bit of the heavier work, so doing things like editing 4K footage within Final Cut Pro, or using Photomator to edit or export your raw photos, and even having Safari, Final Cut, Photomator, and Music all open at the same time seems to perform just like any other Mac would. But what does that all really mean? Well, for regular usage like web browsing, emails, Word docs, spreadsheets, and media consumption, even the base model with 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage, it performs extremely well. I will typically have 4 to 5 Safari tabs open alongside IA Writer within split screen, and then I will also utilize virtual desktops to have all my other apps open like Files, Music, Spark, and Things 3, which are all running at the same time or in the background. Now sure, the RAM swap happens almost immediately and it gets really aggressive when it needs to, and it's also worth noting that within sustained workloads, the fanless design may lead to some thermal throttling. So while the M2 Air performs exceptionally well for those everyday tasks and even some light photo and video editing, it may experience some slowdowns under extreme conditions. Nevertheless, the laptop handles thermal throttling relatively well, still performing better than its predecessor, the M1, and even matching and sometimes outperforming an unthrottled M1 MacBook Pro within some use cases. So to basically sum all of that up, if you use the MacBook Air like a MacBook Air, you're gonna have the best experience you could ever hope for. Easily one of the MacBook Air's standout features, and my personal favorite, is the battery life, and it's not just the battery life itself, but it's also the way that you charge this device. It's rated to last 15 to 18 hours on a single charge, and that is right around what I got. During my testing, the battery lasted all day with ease, a full day of my tasks such as email, typing, research, scripting, and even watching some content here and there. I was genuinely impressed with its longevity. But of course, keep in mind that when you start to push this machine further and really start to utilize the power within the M2 chip, that is when the battery life could potentially dip or drop a lot faster. See, but that's just it with the MacBook Air. It only requires 30 watts of power to charge from 0 to 100%. So you can literally pair this thing with almost any charger, like literally any charger. So basically picture this. You've spent all day away from the charger and the battery will last you for all of your tasks and whatever you have going on. But then as soon as you start to see your battery get lower or dip, you just plug it into anything that's more than 30 watts and you now have half of your battery life back in just 30 minutes. That might just be the best feature about the MacBook Air, or really the best feature out of any laptop out there. However, if you know that you're going to be pushing this machine, or you're maybe just trying to future-proof yourself a little bit and you're looking at things to upgrade, I would personally lean towards the SSD. Unless you happen to be someone who can't close their browser tabs or their apps, then maybe lean more towards the RAM. But if you happen to be looking at both of those upgrades, then maybe take a look at the refurbished 14-inch MacBook Pro, as those typically only go for $100 more than an equivalently spec'd MacBook Air. But even at that point, as someone who's used both, I would personally save that $100 and put it towards maybe like AppleCare or some accessories. What do you guys think of the M2 MacBook Air though? Is it the best laptop in Apple's lineup? Is it the best laptop on the market as a whole? Let me know what you guys think of it, and also let me know what size option you'd go with, if it's the 13 or the 15 inch. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a like and share it to a friend. And if you like Apple tech or desk setup related content, make sure to subscribe. And until next time, peace.